Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Today, I am joined by, in my second part of the special, I am joined by Nui and Andrew, actors of the upcoming My Special Boy. How you guys doing today?
Doing pretty good. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. How about you, Andrew?
Very, very well. Excited to be a part of your program.
Oh, no problem, man. I'm so excited to have you guys. For those of you that just watched Zach and Morgan's episode, these are the actors, two of our actors from My Special Boy. So I asked them, and I'll ask you guys. I'll start with you, Andrew. What's it been like for knowing that you're going to be a part of My Special Boy? What's your excitement like? What is it about for you?
I mean, right when I got the call from James and he told me that I'm going to be a part of the crew, I was really thrilled. I got really excited. I'm a huge fan of the Friday the 13th, franchise. So to be a part of a fan film or really any film in regards to it is really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Nui? How's it been for you?
So far, the experience has been really great. It's totally new, and I'm actually really excited to be learning new stuff. But I've been a part of the horror franchise for such a long time, loving it as we all have. Mm-hmm. And I actually was at the movie theaters one day, and I was just like, oh man, I hope one day I can get into a scary movie. And then next thing I know, Andrew gave me James' information, and then James had a read, and James told me he wanted to give me the part for Steven, and now the rest is history.
That's awesome, man. And you're talking about Friday the 13th. One of the first things I made for Sledgehammer Horror was the Sledgehammer Horror Friday the 13th mask. So, I mean, that's how important this film is to all of us. So for you guys to be a part of this, you are forever enshrined in history. And I just talked about this with Zach and Morgan. I'll talk about it with you guys as well. To me, fan films are so much better than the Hollywood films at this point, because in the fan-made films, you guys are doing it because of your love of the franchise, your love of not only Hockey Math Jason, but Sackhead Jason and Mrs. Voorhees. And you guys are doing it for the right reasons. You're not doing it for a paycheck. So I said this during their episode. I'm going to say it now. Click the links down here in the description. Not only do I have their Indiegogo so you guys can help on this campaign, I also have their social media links as well. So you guys can be checking out what they're doing, not only before and during My Special Boy, but after, because I promise you this is not going to be the last time you see these two gentlemen. So anything you guys would like to add before we get into your first horror movie?
I'm glad and honored to be a part of this project, and I'm glad that me and Andrew will be part of the Friday the 13th series legacy. So it's good we get to make our mark.
Yeah,
you can't 100%. Take that away from you guys.
100%. This is a great project, and I'm excited to share it with all the fans.
And we're excited too. Any updates you guys have, please shoot them my way. I'll be happy to do as much promotion as I can. I'm genuinely excited for the film. So, but we are here today, gentlemen, to talk about the first horror movie you watched. Nui, let's start with you. What was your first horror movie?
If my memory serves me right, my first horror movie was Nightmare on Elm Street, the original one.
And I'll tell you this right now. This is God. Absolutely, man. I've always said A Nightmare on Elm Street is the best horror film ever made. And if you take away the last 5 minutes of the original Nightmare on Elm Street, it is the perfect film ever made. I'm not a big fan of the blow up doll in the Freddy car, but Andrew, what about you, sir? Where did horror start in your life?
Ooh, Child's Play. When I was a little kid, just on yep.
This little guy right here started it for you.
Yeah. My mom was flipping through channels on the TV, and then Child's Play came on by accident, and I was kind of curious. I'm like, what's this? And then as the movie progressed, I got more and more scared, and I ended up having nightmares for the next 5 years of my life. Just the same nightmare of Chucky about to kill me. So
yeah. And something else I've always stated, I think that if you take away Seed of Chucky, I'm not a fan of Seed of Chucky. If you take that film away, the Child's Play franchise is the best horror franchise. I think it's Scream, but if you take away Seed of Chucky, I think it's the best. I think that it's the most consistent. It has the most kills. I hate to sound like an old dinosaur, but it's hip. It's got all the things you want in a horror slasher. So I'm going to bounce some questions off you guys so we can kind of figure out how these movies affected you. Let's start with you, Andrew. Do you remember, you said you watched it with your mom for the first time and it kind of, affected you for a while. Do you remember about how old you were the first time you had seen it?
It was, I'd say it was about 9 years old.
It's about the perfect time to start your horror life right there. 9 years old.
Yeah.
So we talk about horror movies often, and there's many facets that come with horror movies that affect us in different ways. Nui, which scene from A Nightmare on Elm Street do you think affected you the most?
I'd say the one that affected me the most would have to be Johnny Depp's scene when he's just like ripping him a new one, and then the whole blood just coming out of the bed. I was just like, I remember having a dream about that one night, and I was like, I'm good, right? There's no hole in my stomach.
And it's the great thing about that scene is it's all done practically. There's no CGI there. That is all done practically. With A Nightmare on Elm Street, you have 4 kills in that movie, and for a slasher, that's quite low. But they really went with quantity over quality in that, or quality over quantity in that movie. With Rod being hung and Tina getting drug up the wall and Johnny Depp's waterbed scene. Like, it's a fucking fantastic movie when it comes to the special effects being done practically rather than CGI. So I'm with you. That Johnny Depp scene is one of the best kills in all of horror history.
Right. And I love how they did it classically and not just, relied on technology to make it look good.
Yeah. That's one thing that Wes Craven was super specific about is because they didn't have a big budget. If you notice throughout a lot of the original Nightmare on Elm Street, you don't see Freddy that much. He's in the shadows or he's running because his makeup looked different because he had to keep getting back on and off prosthetics. So his makeup actually looks different in every shot, which I think is awesome, but a lot of people didn't like it. Andrew, let's go to you. When you think about Child's Play, what's the first thing that pops into your head?
The creepiness of the doll and just, and like the opening scenes and how the character, the kid's buying the doll, right? Chucky. And then it's supposed to be an innocent thing, but there's that whole foreshadowing of it and everything that's really creepy. So that's what sticks in my mind, especially as a kid when you're seeing it for the first time. Then you go to all the stores and you see that in real life, and it's just, it's a weird feeling.
Yeah, I remember being, I'm a little older than you guys are, and I remember going and seeing Good Guy dolls on the shelves and just being fucking terrified. Like, Toys R Us, what are you doing? You're killing me. So, Nui, I'm going to bounce back over to you. What is your favorite scene from A Nightmare on Elm Street?
My favorite scene? Let's see.
We know that the waterbed affected you the most, but what scene would you say is your favorite?
I'd have to say my favorite one is that like scene when the girl is running in the alleyway and Jason's like kind of playing with her, and then he finally catches up to her and like just rips her a new one. That has to be my favorite scene. Either that or it has to be the Johnny Depp scene. Like those are like my top 2.
Well, they go together. I mean, you talk about how absolutely terrifying he is. It's just there's no one. I've always said Michael Myers to me was the more realistic of the bunch. Like in Halloween, he gets his mask ripped off and you see he's just a regular old dude. And then you got Jason to me, who was more of the monster that was fun to watch because he was always in the same location. He had inventive kills. But Freddy was always the scariest because you can't escape him. You can't leave a campground or leave your house and get away from Freddy. So
there's like no win-win with him. So
yeah,
that right there, let alone gave me nightmares. Like I had this one nightmare with Freddy that he was chasing me in that alleyway, and I was just remember running from him. I was like scared in my dream, but for some reason I felt like I was scared in person. Like I felt like both ways, and then like somehow the dream like turned around and I was the one beating Freddy Krueger's ass.
Even better that way.
Then I woke up and I was like, did I win?
Would have been even more fucked up if you woke up with like a part of his sweater in your hand, like in the movie.
Oh man, just his glove on my hand.
Right. So Andrew, I'm going to bounce back over to you. It is a dark way to say it, but I always ask the question: what is your favorite kill from Child's Play?
Well, there's a scene where he ends up like having a woman like come off of some apartment building and fly down into a car.
Yeah, after the hammer to the head.
Yeah. That was, I think that was in the first Child's Play, I believe.
Yeah. Yep,
Yeah.
that's when you really find out when you see the good guy hammer hit her in the head, and then she goes out the window, and that slow motion shot. Such a fantastic shot, man. And this is crazy because we didn't plan this, everybody. I promise you, we didn't plan this. This is all genuine. What these guys don't even know is I do a franchise ranking for you that watch the podcast know, and the last two franchises that I've written, I haven't recorded them yet, but I've written, were A Nightmare on Elm Street and Child's Play. So I just in the last 2 weeks rewatched all of these movies. So for these guys to choose these two, that's why I have the glove and the doll all right here, because I've been, this right here is me ranking all the Child's Play movies with my little scripts. So I mean, this is something fresh on my mind. So to be able to talk to you guys about these two films is really, really cool to me.
The most recent one was pretty funny.
Well, see, and that's what I was just going to talk to you guys about, because we are lucky enough to where we're talking about two films that have recently been remade. So I would like to get your guys' opinions on the remake. Again, this doesn't have to go remake versus original, because I'm one of the guys that when I watch a remake, I want it to blow me away. I don't want it to be like the original. I want you to take it and make it your own. I've already seen the original. I don't need you to tell me that story again. I want you to reimagine it and make it your own. So let's start with you, Nui. What was your feelings on the Nightmare on Elm Street remake?
My feelings, I was pretty okay with it. I was kind of confused about some of the things, and then I was kind of glad though they went and did Freddy Krueger's backstory. But then at the same time, I was I'm not feeling that same thrill that I got from the originals, and it's probably because the original actor, he wasn't in it.
Yeah.
But I mean the new actor that they hired though, he did a pretty good job. But
Jackie Earle Haley did a great job. Great job for the Krueger that they wrote for him, the dark, brooding Krueger. Jackie Earle Haley did a perfect job. But you're talking about the backstory. That's the only problem I had really with this film. I love the kills in this film. I thought they were fantastic, from the knife in the neck to Freddy coming through the mirror. But I don't like how they made Freddy a pedophile. He was never a pedophile before. He was always a child killer, not a pedophile. Now, look, I get it, guys. I'm not condoning child killing. I'm look, go ahead and kill children. Just don't be a pedophile. That's not what I'm doing. But it's just, to me, it was just too much for me to see him as a pedophile and not a child killer.
It was so he's a pedophile? If he's a pedophile, why is he killing all these kids? Shouldn't he like the kids and go after the
yeah, because in the remake, he didn't kill any kids. He was just a pedophile. Again, here I go again, oh, that bastard didn't kill any kids. What a pussy. No. I mean, they're both terrible, bad people, but he was always a child killer, not a pedophile. So, Andrew, let's go about you, man. What about the Child's Play remake? What were your feelings on that one?
Yeah, I thought that the humor elements were great. I just feel like they didn't do enough to really make the audiences scared. Whereas with the old one, I felt like there's more suspense involved.
Yeah.
The new one was kind of dry in that regard, I think. However, I enjoyed both of them, and I'm glad they were different in a sense too. So.
And I agree with you. I'm a big fan of the Child's Play remake. But one thing that you are absolutely correct on, you hit the nail on the head, is in the old one, you weren't sure for the first act of the film if Chucky was evil or if it was Andy doing it. They kind of led you down that path. But in the new one, right from the rip that Chucky's bad. Right off the get-go. I don't like the look of the doll, but there's a lot of this. I love the kills in this. I think they're absolutely brutal.
Oh, yeah.
And you're talking the comedy in it, when he kills that guy and he's like, "This is for Tupac," that was funny. It was genuinely funny. So
there's some random jokes in there that were just. Yeah.
So I did send these fellas a list of questions, but there's always a question I ask you guys that I don't have on the list, because I want a genuine answer right on your toes. We talked about your first horror movie. Now I want to go scream on you. What's your favorite scary movie? So let's start with you, Andrew. What is your favorite horror movie?
Halloween.
The original from 78?
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice. What about you, Nui? Your favorite horror movie of all time?
If we're going to go off of me being a fanatic about them, my top two would have to be the Final Destination series and Scream.
Okay. See, and I think Scream is the best horror franchise of all time. I think Wes Craven absolutely knocked it out of the park. One thing with Halloween, and you can never I've talked about the Holy Trinity. For me, the big three when it comes to slashers is Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. And with Halloween, that movie is so iconic that people that have never seen it, they know the Halloween theme, you know, that piano lick. You know, it's like with Jaws or Star Wars. You know those songs. You know, that's how important that Halloween is. That the score alone knocks it out. People that have never seen Halloween, they know what this is. You know, even if they've never seen the movie. That's how iconic this is. So great choice on both of your guys' parts. And like I said, I love Scream. I love the Final Destination. Towards the end, Final Destination for me is literally like this, then this, and then the very last one was super awesome. Again, how they tied it all back together. So,
yeah, that one, the Final Destination with like the NASCAR incident, I was just like, okay. I was like, okay, cool.
I mean, every franchise has their low points, man. Like I said, even Child's Play has Seed of Chucky. Even Scream had Scream 3. I mean, not amazing, but not great. So we always end these, my friends, with the same question. I'm going to ask you guys both. We're going to go back to your first horror movie, and we're going to give it a skull count. We're ranking that movie on a scale of 0 to 5, 0 skulls being the worst, 5 being the best. And this is just overall quality of the film. You can use half and quarter skulls. Let's start with you, Nui. We're talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street, 0 to 5 skulls. What is your ranking, sir?
I'm obviously going to have to give it 5 skulls right away. It's just such a classic. And then on top of it being a classic, just the amazing crew that they had and the amazing actor that, you know, Freddy Krueger left such a print on that character. So
Robert Englund, man.
Robert Englund,
you're right, because think about this, you guys. I'm a little older than you guys, like I said, but in 1990, you had Freddy Krueger, who is a child killer. You had Robert Englund dressed as Freddy Krueger selling Doritos and Pepsi and on Nickelodeon. You know, like that's how big he was. That in 1990, you had this child killer promoting Doritos. Like, oh, Doritos, you know, like what the fuck? This guy kills kids. How's he your spokesman? So, Andrew, let's go to you. Child's Play, 0 to 5 skulls. What would your ranking be, my friend?
Ooh, I say 4 out of 5.
Still, I'm with you. These are two great movies to talk about. I could talk about these movies all night. Another movie I feel like we'll be talking about for a long time, the fan film, My Special Boy. Remember, guys, go down here, click the links in the description. I got their social media accounts. I also have the Indiegogo to the film, so you guys can be a part of this as well. Fan films are really what's getting us going right now. A lot of the Hollywood stuff is not happening, and these fan films are really staying true to the franchises because they're not doing this for money. They're doing this because they love these films just as much as you and I. So any little bit helps when you're trying to help get a fan film made. You boys, please don't go anywhere. I got a couple more questions for you. Everybody else, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.